So I took off on a plane this morning, and right now I'm in the sky soaring.
Welcome to the Indie Tea Talk podcast. I'm Adam and this is Kitty, your host for a journey into indie music across the north of England. Tune in as we share a brew with some of the most exciting indie artists around, exploring their unique melodies and creating a space where you can discover your favourite music like never before. And whilst you're here, please show your support by hitting that subscribe button. It really is a massive help to us and also the amazing artists that we feature. Today on Indie Tea Talk, we're excited to welcome Jack Robertson, a rising singer-songwriter from Scarborough, North Yorkshire. Although Jack has played guitar for 12 years, he's only started singing publicly in early 2024. And in that short time, he's already made a serious impact. After a solo songwriting trip to Bratislava, Jack returned with the material for his debut album, Danube Blues, recorded locally at Beckview Studios. With a goal to release an album before turning 30, Jack's music reflects heartfelt storytelling, ambition, and the spirit of doing it your own way. Let's dive into his journey, the making of Danube Blues, and what's next for this exciting artist. Please welcome Jack Robertson to the studio. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, yeah.
Brilliant.
Excited to be here.
Oh, well, that's great because we're excited to have you.
It's actually a beautiful day as well, so
It is.
the fact that you're excited to be sat in a studio with us on such a beautiful day is nice.
Yeah, with absolutely no windows. So, so if you could describe your sound to someone that's never heard your music before, how would you describe it?
Right, so it's probably like a mix between like folk and blues, I would say. There's a few... In my early 20s, I was like more into like indie sort of music as well. So there's a few influences of that in there, but mainly it's like folk and blues mixture, I would say.
Yeah,
Nice.
I can feel that. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. It's you were saying earlier on while we were chatting that you took a bit of a trajectory change in your music influences.
Mm-hmm.
So having having played music prior and like having knowledge of like the indie sort of soundscape, trying to change it into a bit more of a folky, it still carries a couple of those traits through. But
There's so many genre crossovers, of like, there's so many songs where you might listen to an indie song and then the guitar in it actually might take inspiration from like a bluesy background or a folky background. So there is quite a big crossover with indie and different kind of styles as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it's cool.
How did your kind of musical journey first begin? Because I know obviously you only really started performing last year. Were you always drawn to guitar, or how did it kind of evolve?
It's a bit of a funny one, really. So I've got a younger sister, and she got a guitar for like her 8th birthday or something, and never picked it up, and it was just sat gathering dust for years. And then I think I was about 16, 17, and I was like, are you ever going to use that? And she's like, no. So I kind of picked that up and started playing on that. But I used to do a lot of running when I was in my sort of late teenage years, like competitive. So the guitar I always like kind of played it at home, but it never was like my priority.
Mm-hmm.
I packed the running in when I was about 20, 21 and started playing more. But I'd never played live or thought I was kind of good enough or, had that ability to do that. So I was restricted by myself, but I was restricted to playing at home in front of nobody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think like that's where everyone starts anyway. So it's great to be able to use that as a launch pad almost. You've spent all this time crafting and honing your skills, and then you've gone right now. Now I'm going to do it.
It's terrifying how many wonderful artists there are out there that have never performed live as well.
Yeah.
There's even in York, like. I went to like a girls' music night recently, and there was a girl who it was her first ever live performance,
Right.
and she's amazing, and she's literally never played live before, and it's just crazy, isn't it? That like there must be so much good music that we've never heard. But
Yeah,
I'm glad that you did start performing.
Thank you. Me too. I love it. I wouldn't change the past, but it's a kind of a little regret, like, oh, bloody hell, I wish I'd have done that sooner. But yeah, things happen for a reason, I suppose. But just on that, yeah, it's there's a bloke I know, he's a good friend of mine, but he's quite a bit older than me. I think he's in his late 60s. I'm not going to say his name, but he is an incredible guitarist, but he will not play live.
Yeah.
You're kidding?
He will not. I go around and we have a jam every 2 or 3 weeks or so together, and he'll do that. But yeah, he's incredible. And he's been playing like since he was about 12.
Yeah.
So he's got like 50 odd years of experience, and he just won't do it. And it's like, come on, do it. But he he won't.
Well, you've been shouted out now. You've been called out. So you best get yourself out there. Yeah. Did you start like open mics and stuff like that then, or?
Yeah. So it was funny. About maybe 2018, I was out for some pints with my mate, and we passed a spot called Indigo Alley in Scarborough, which is it's still open. They do. I don't know if you've heard of it. They do some gigs there and stuff. It's a good place. But they I can't remember what day the open mic used to be on. It's on a Tuesday now. But anyway, we were passing by, and my mate was like, "Oh, go on, sing it." I was like, "Oh no, I've never done it." So there's a video somewhere knocking about of it. I might have to dig it out. But I did Mardy Bum by Arctic Monkeys.
Oh yeah.
Nice tune.
And yeah, I was like shaking my hand, like I was so nervous. But then even after that, I didn't do anything for a good few years after that. It was just like one open mic in isolation. But I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Had to get over the trauma of the first performance.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I kind of ended up pre-COVID, like in sort of back end of 2019, early 2020. I ended up in a band with some friends, playing like electric, like sort of lead guitar things, which I enjoyed, but I'd never done any singing. Through COVID, that band sort of stopped being a thing, really. And
there's a lot of bands did disperse during COVID.
But yeah, then again, I took a couple of years, really, not really doing anything musical. And then I thought, you know what, I want to try and get into another band. And as a guitarist, it's quite hard because everyone can play guitar. I think there's a high volume of people who can. So it's like if you're a drummer, I think you can walk into about 6 bands if you wanted. But as a guitarist, it's a lot harder. So I thought, I'll just maybe do it on my own. But I was like, I can't really sing. I didn't think I could.
Wrong.
So yeah, there's a friend I've got in Scarborough. She's called Amy Cutler, and she does singing lessons as well. And I went to see her, and she was like, "Hey, hang on, you've got a voice here. Like you just not got the confidence."
Yeah.
So I spent a good few weeks working with her. Did a few open mics, and then the Star in Caton.
I thought you were going to say, and then the Star was born.
Yes. No, I wouldn't say that. No. The Star Pub in Caton. They took a chance on me, and they were like, "Yeah, go on, we'll give you a gig." And then it's just gone from there. So
nice.
That's great. Yeah.
So you set yourself the challenge of releasing an album before you turned 30. Can you tell us a little bit about why that kind of sprung about and how you did it?
I'll be honest, I don't really know the answer to that question. It was just in my mind. Like one of the songs on the album, excuse me, one of the songs on the album, it's called Uptight. It's track 2. I wrote that like 5 years ago in 2020. And I really enjoyed it. And I kind of left that song on the back burner. I didn't really do anything with it. It went through a few different variations over the years. And and then I wrote another one, which is track 5. It's called Lucidity, and it's about some lucid dreams I had, which I won't go into detail with. But if you listen to the song, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, I like it. It's a bit jarring, but it's
yeah. But they were real dreams, unfortunately, that I had. And and then I thought, hang on, I've got 2 songs now, and I was like, what am I doing with this? And I was like, maybe there's more to come. So I just thought, what was I, nearly 29 at the time? I was like, well, I've got a year. Let's just put an album out. because
Nice.
I've always been
I like that. Setting
Yeah.
yourself that challenge as well. Of
Yeah.
being like, this is the time I've got. I'm going to do it before I'm 30.
Yeah, and it felt like realistic, but like long enough as well. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've got a couple of mates called Alec and Connor who I went to university with, who I've stayed in touch with, and they give me a bit of a stern talking to, and they were like, look, you've been banging on about this for years, like when are you actually going to sit down and do it? Like, we know you're good, you can do it, just go and do it. Like, so I've got that kind of set it going as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to surround yourself with people like that as well that do bully you a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
I sent Adam a demo recently and he's messaged me like, you have to release that, it's really good. And sometimes you do need that bullying to push you to actually take the leap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need it. It's like a good solid friendship group that can push you. And then I think going back to what we were saying earlier on, like it's amazing at how important open mics are to developing music. Like it gives you that, you know, you can go out there on the stage and just do 2 songs, but just get a feel for what it's like to do a full gig and start to build up that defense against like your nerves almost, because it's just so hard, isn't it? But no, that's great. I think you've done really well there to set yourself that target and bring out what is, you know, it's a brilliant album as well.
Thank you very much. I was 4 months early, so I'm 30 in July. Came out in March. So.
What, July what?
Yeah, 16th.
16th. Not quite good enough. Right, so it's the all important question. It's the main reason why everyone tunes in, because they just want to know if your music was a flavour of tea, what would it be and why?
It's gonna have to be Yorkshire tea, isn't it? I'm sure you've had that before.
Q prop.
Crew prop. Brought me a little box of Yorkshire tea.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A little box.
A little box. Yeah.
You can't beat it. So what makes your music Yorkshire tea?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. It's.
I love that you knew we were going to ask this question.
You're like, I'll bring the tea, but that's about it.
He's still stunned.
I don't know. It's just real, I suppose, isn't it?
It is. It's good. It's honest.
And you're from Scarborough. Were you born in Scarborough?
I wasn't. No, actually, I was born in Sheffield.
Okay.
Still Yorkshire.
Yep.
And then we moved to Scarborough. So yeah, I've always lived in Yorkshire.
It's proper.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And I think even though I've thought my answer now,
Go on,
part of it.
That's fine.
My brain's been going while you were talking. So even though like track 9, Landmark, it's called, that references a lot of landmarks around Scarborough, which is Yorkshire. And even though I was away, it's going to be cringy this, even though I was away in Bratislava, in Slovakia, writing some of it, I was still thinking about Yorkshire.
No.
Perfect. That's it. That's the ticket. You've got it there.
Because you were saying earlier about one of the songs you played for us that you pronounced it Yorkshire or Scarborough today. And I liked that you were like that you're proud of that, the fact that you're like, no, I want to sound Yorkshire in my songs.
Yeah.
And it was funny when you said that earlier. You were like, oh yeah, I said that properly this time. Said it proper Yorkshire.
I think with the style of music it is, I think there's a risk of sounding like I think I'm American or something. But
Yeah.
I try to avoid that as much as possible.
The Scarbados accent still creeping in there.
So we're going to jump into your first live track. Do you want to tell us what we're gonna hear and a little bit about it?
Yeah. So the first one will be it's called Window Seat, and it's my personal favourite on the album. It's a bit mad how it was written, really. So it was written on the plane to Bratislava. I went in October, like 6 months ago, and the first line is I took off on a plane this morning, and then I was like, bloody hell, where's the book? And the whole thing just came out in about 20 minutes, and I was just like,
what did you do for the rest of the plane journey?
I was buzzing.
Just sat there really happy
sat there with a song.
This is great. So Window Seat. wrote on the plane to Bratislava. And,
Is that the picture then?
Oh yes,
on the album?
Yeah, so the picture, which I've got here actually. Here.
Yeah.
As I took that out the plane window, and yeah, I just thought actually that makes a good cover, and it's all very
Nice.
fitting. And
Yeah.
it
Oh,
was
well.
cool how the clouds looked. So I was like, yeah, nice.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna use
Well-
that.
Exciting.
Can't wait to listen to it.
Yeah, cool.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you. So I took off on a plane this morning, and right now I'm in the sky soaring. I paid £8 for a window seat, so I can gaze down 30,000 feet upon the sea and the mountains tall. Lord, don't it make me feel small? But up here, my mind's a wandering. There ain't much to do but a thinking and a pondering. I'm looking out over our own planet, and it's making me think, well, how can I manage without the love of that womankind? 'Cause up here, she ain't by my side. So I'm staring out at the tops of the clouds, and I'm thinking about what she's doing now. Is she sitting there thinking of me while she's sipping on her afternoon tea? I suppose that's one thing that I'll never know, but these thoughts, they're giving me hope. Or am I absent in her mind? Will I ever again call her mine? Now I'm looking out over France, and I'm thinking about our last dance. We're spinning round and round and round in my kitchen. Up here it's clear that it's her I'm missing. So I order myself a double whiskey to douse those thoughts that she don't miss me. I'm sipping and I'm slurping this dram, and I'm praying for the moment that I land, so I can switch back on my phone, and I'll call her and I'll tell her that I love her so.
So you travelled solo to Bratislava to write your debut album, Danube Blues.
Yep.
What inspired that trip, and what was that experience like creatively?
Well, it's it's funny really, because I was initially going to go up to like Scotland or Lakes or something, and, and go
Wow,
on like,
that's a real
Yeah,
change of
Well,
heart.
culture difference. there.
it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a little cottage or something in Lakes. So I thought, well, let's have a look. So I went online, sort of filtered by price.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Leeds to Bratislava is £18 each way.
No way.
Wow.
And because I was going on my own and I wasn't too bothered about where I was staying, I got a hostel for €10 a night. And I had 4 nights, 5 days. So it cost me about £80. for the whole thing.
Honestly, I went to Leeds the other week from here to watch the Leeds game, and it nearly cost me that just on the train, just to get from here to Leeds, and you went to bloody Bratislava.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hour flights for 36 quid return. Yeah.
So what was it like creatively then over there? How did you feel it inspired you?
Yeah, it was great. It's a beautiful city. Lovely architecture. It's really old. I don't know enough about the city as I should really, seeing as I went there. But I read a bit. I think it's been part of loads of different countries over the last sort of 1,000 years or whatever. I think it's changed which country it's part of a few times, because it's right near the border with a few other countries. Obviously, the Danube, the river that it's named after, that the album's named after, that flows through the city. So I spent quite a lot of time sort of sat around there. Tried a few different cafes, but there was one, and I really should know the name of it, but I don't, it was in Slovakian, the name, so I struggle to remember it. But I kind of really liked this particular cafe, so I went back there a few times. And yeah, just kind of milled around in the days. Like, I just had my little book and just drinking my coffees and stuff, and just sort of writing what came to mind. And then in the evenings I kind of did a few little touristy bits and so like a gallery and stuff. So yeah, it was great.
A bit of the culture,
a little
well.
bit. Yeah, I'd like to go back actually, because it was almost like I was working over there, sort of thing.
Yeah,
like, and I didn't want to waste too much time. Like,
album before 30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm on a deadline here.
Yeah.
You're working to a schedule, man.
I didn't want to sit around eating ice cream all day and that. I thought I've got actually.
So that's what you're going to go back and do.
Yeah.
It's been the talk of the podcast today of how to say Danube. Because you were saying that, chatting earlier, saying that when you first got there, you were saying...
I was saying Danube. Yeah, and then the hostel that I was staying in, the like reception person was like, "It's Danube," and like sort of told me off. I was like, "Okay,
sorry."
So you recorded everything at Beckview Studios in Scarborough.
Yeah.
What was that recording process like?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So I waited until I got back from my trip, and I knew I had enough sort of material to make it like viable. I knew I wanted about 10 songs. There ended up being 11. It's an interesting story about the 11th track actually, which I'll mention later. But it was great. So then I got back and I got in touch with Chris at Beckview, and they sort of invited me along for like a little, almost like consultation. I told them about the project. I told them what sound I was after, what the songs were about, this, that, and the other. And he was like, he was like, yeah, I'm sold. I'm really buying this project. And he was like, we can definitely help you. So then I then had to go and find, because some of the songs have got a backing band with them. Yeah. So I had to go and find some people who do that, and two of my best friends, Joe Gardam and Lewis Ward, ended up doing that, which was brilliant. To do that with two of your best friends was one of the best experiences I've had, honestly. It was absolutely amazing.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, the whole thing at Beckview was great. Like, it's good what they've got there. Like, it's it kind of feels like you're in a home rather than in a studio.
Yeah.
It's just real relaxed, and Chris and Christina who work there are brilliant, and
it's quite a hard mix, isn't it, to have the homey aspect but it still feel quite professional, and but it's nice if you can find somewhere like that. I feel like you've created that quite well here, Adam, of like, it feels cozy but you also, it feels like a proper recording space.
But, well, that's kind of what we tried to do as well, is just try and get that, because I think it's really important for you as a musician to walk into here, and obviously we've spoken briefly before you get here, and we've exchanged details, and you've given me a bit of information about what you've been doing and stuff, but we don't really know each other very well. So when you come in here and we're talking to you, and we're interviewing you, and we're asking you questions that are quite personal, it's important that you feel really comfortable as well, and that's what like I think the aesthetics of a studio can help towards as well. And I think that's really important when it comes to recording music as well, not just in this sort of environment. So it sounds like they've got that.
Yeah.
And I've seen the photos and it looks amazing. So
Yeah,
I can completely agree with you there. Yeah, it looks brilliant. So how did it kind of feel? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit then. How did it feel to bring a band to the album? Like having bass and drums behind your songs. Did that change the way the songs kind of appeared from demo to final product?
Not really, I suppose. No, I don't think so. I was very clear at the start when I was speaking to Chris at Beckview about the production and stuff. I wanted the drums and bass like quite far back in the mix, almost like accompanying the guitar and vocals, which has been achieved. I'm really happy with the outcome. But no, it was just quite clear in my mind really when I was writing them, like which ones were going to be like finger-picked solo songs and which ones were going to be like strummed like band songs. It was always quite a. There was a part of me at one point. I did have a little bit of a wobble with the sort of process, and I was like, I don't know if I want them all to just be guitar. But I think when I did the demos at home, just recorded on my phone, I think some of the songs were quite boring. Some of them, no, like if they didn't have them other
needed that driving factor.
Like some of them were just so obviously like this needs drums and bass that it was like without it wouldn't really have the same impact. Maybe boring was a bit harsh on myself. It was like it just needed that. I knew it needed it basically. And I was like, right, cool.
Was there any songs that you started out thinking this is definitely just going to be me and guitar that ended up being a full band?
There's one that was the other way.
Right.
So track 7, it's called Prisoner, and that was going to be a full band song, and it's ended up being a solo one because we were trying to figure it out, me, Joe and Lou, and we were just like, you know what, it's better on its own, like it doesn't need it. So they were almost detrimental, the drums and bass, to that song, so we just left it on its own.
That's good that you can see that though, because I think sometimes you can get very task focused, and you're like, no, this I've said that this is going to be
and force the instruments to fit where they don't really need to be.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And also that, like saying about almost being like flexible, like fluid with the instruments, like the Landmark, which is track 9, the harmonica and that has become like people's sort of favourite bits. There's two harmonica parts on it. And people seem to love it, and that was decided to be in it actually at the studio. Like we'd recorded the full thing, and then I was like, let's try some harmonica in them instrumental bits, and it's like, nice.
Really
so then we left them in, like, because that was interesting. I didn't really know I could play it. I had one in the right key, and I was like, I'll give it a go, and it's come out good. So we left it in. Like,
I love that. That's great.
Can you give us a glimpse? I know you've kind of given us an insight into the writing of the album, but can you give us a glimpse into the kind of themes and stories behind it, and what listeners can expect when they have a play?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going to be selective about what I say here.
Okay.
But yeah, it's basically the real vulnerable lyrics. I think actually, like, I was really worried before release about what people would think of the lyrics, because it's heart on sleeve. Like, I don't have many secrets left, really.
Yeah, that's always a really worrying part about releasing music, isn't it? You're like, well, this is a little piece of my soul, so please be kind about it.
But I was kind of hoping that people would hear it and maybe like attach their own experiences to it, and come up with their own interpretations. But yeah, it's very much about I suppose heartbreak, really. I went through a breakup which was really, really hard for me, and struggled with it for a while, and decided to put a lot of it into this album. So
well, it worked for Adele, so you know.
We love a heartbreak album.
Yeah.
So now that the album is out, what's your focus moving forward?
So as you mentioned earlier, I think I'm really new to this. So my first ever gig, which was a covers gig at the Star in Caton.
The Star. That is definitely going to be the name of this podcast, by the way.
Brilliant.
And then the Star was born.
Yeah.
Please don't call it that. But yeah, that first ever gig was the 26th of May last year. So this time last year, I'd never even done a gig.
Yeah, so that's not even a full year yet.
No, like
Yeah.
it's gone really, really fast. So I kind of don't know what to do. Like I'm trying to figure it out as I'm going. I'm trying to sort of push it as hard as I can, sort of online on socials and things. I'd really like to be in a position where I could almost do like a little mini tour of it, like maybe around Yorkshire, get some venues in, maybe York, Leeds, Hull that are interested,
Nice, yeah.
and just kind of play it as much as I can. I am going on a bit of a trip down at the end of July. One of my old uni mates lives in London. So I'm going down there to stay with him for a few days. I'm just going to find every open mic I can. I'm going to go and play it.
Yeah.
Like my originals over
I've
and over.
never played a London open mic, but I'd quite like to. I've always found it a bit daunting of like, whenever I'm there, I'm always like, oh, we'll go and watch some music, but I've never played one.
You
I
sicken
find
me
it.
sometimes, honestly.
You should.
But
It's so good. And you're just like, oh, yeah, well, maybe it's a bit scary. Shut up.
So if you do that, please tell me what they're like and where I should go.
Yeah, I'm still trying to do my research as to the best ones, but that's on my agenda coming up, and then just trying to get as many people to listen to it as possible, basically.
Listen to my music.
Yeah,
that's the best way to do it.
yeah. I've got a few. I'm trying to get on at like sort of like folk festivals and things. So I've got my first one at Filey Folk Festival,
Nice.
which is next weekend.
Yeah.
Where
are you playing? It'll have already happened.
It'll have already happened. Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, Bonham's Bar.
Bonham's Bar. Yeah.
I think Filey Folk Festivals. I think they do it at different venues sort of around the town.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bonham's at 7:30 on the Saturday.
Ooh, I might be there.
I was going to say, you usually go, don't you?
Yeah, I normally go
cool.
to
Yeah.
the Filey Folk Festival, so I might be there.
Oh, very good.
I'm
never been
working
before, so.
I'm working on Friday and Sunday, so I won't be drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be going out. Yeah, that is a fact. I won't be. So when you see me stood at bar with a pint in my hand, tell me off.
Will do.
But yeah, first of all, I've got to try and get out of going out with. Like my mum and my grandma are all going out drinking in Bridlington, so I've got to try and edge my way out of that one. And
That is the coolest backup plan ever.
I know. Oh well, go have some beers
Drinking
with
with
my
my
granddad.
mum and my grandma in Brid.
Yeah, my granddad's going as well. He's pretty cool. So.
Nice.
Right, it's time to go into your second live session. Do you want to give us a little bit of a heads up on what you're going to be performing?
Yeah, so this one's, I mentioned earlier, it's called Landmark. It is one of the band songs on the album. So yeah, it's track 9, this one. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it like acoustically. I like playing it, it's really fun to play. So yeah, cool.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Right, let it sparkle like the sun on the south bay. Right, let it sparkle like the sun on the south bay. But they're fading in my mind, and I wish that they'd stay. And she's standing tall, just like the castle's keep. And she's standing tall, just like the castle's keep. And when I close my eyes, I see her in my sleep. is shrouded like the mount, and her mind is a mystery, is shrouded like the mount. But she's up in the sky, her feet don't touch the ground, and she's as deep as a forest, and she's tough just like the wood. And she's as deep as a forest, and she's tough just like the wood. I wish she'd let me in to help, I believe that I could. And her eyelids sparkle like the sun on the South Bay. And her eyelids sparkle like the sun across the bay. But she's fading in my mind, and I wish that she'd stayed.
So you've made it all the way through to the grand finale. It's time for the quickfire questions.
Yeah, cool.
Can you remember the first gig you ever went to?
Yes.
Okay, what was it?
That was very quick fire. Right over next.
Next.
It was the Vaccines at Bridge Spa in 2012.
Nice. That is a good first gig experience, to be fair.
Also, you knew the year,
Yeah.
where it was, and who played.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah.
Full marks.
Full marks, yeah.
So I don't know how quickfire this is, but you mentioned that there was only meant to be 10 songs on the album and that there was 11. I'm dying to hear about the 11th song.
Yeah, so as there was meant to be 10 songs, and they were all recorded, mastered and everything, ready for release.
Oh, so like really ready to go before you did the 11th.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a close call. But I'd had this concept in my head. It's called A Promise, and it's kind of like an idea of what you would say to someone who like is with the person you always thought you were going to be with. And I'd been trying to get it out for months, and I just couldn't get the pen to paper, and I couldn't get the words out. And then I was on my lunch break at work, and I went for a walk, and I think there's 12 verses, and all of them just came flowing out, and I was like, oh my god, it's here, I've got it. So I got in touch with Chris. I was like, I know the album's coming out in like a few weeks, but is there any chance I can come in and record another? And he was like, yeah, I'll squeeze you in. So I booked a day's holiday, went back to Beckview, recorded it, and it was there just in
a
time.
day.
In a morning.
Wow.
Yeah, we got it done in a morning.
Top effort there.
So, I was chuffed to get that one on. It felt complete. I didn't want to... People were like, oh, just save it for the next one. I was like, no, it needs to be on this one.
Nice. So that will be your bonus track that will be on YouTube
Yes.
on Indie Tea Talk.
Very good.
Right, to go a little bit more lighthearted, what's the last song you had stuck in your head?
This is going to be super cringe. But it's
already.
actually Spinning by Beth Pilling.
Is
and
it?
The Bootleggers. Yeah, I think it's always stuck in my head.
Yeah, when I mixed that song...
We were all singing it.
Oh my God, for ages
when
and
she came
ages.
in.
Yeah, it just gets stuck in my head a few times a week. Like,
Yeah.
Nice. 3 things you absolutely need before a show.
Oh God.
Other than like, I was going to say a pint, a wee, and a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guitar,
Yeah, big tick.
a capper, and a pick.
Yeah.
Do you always
Pretty
use
essential.
a pick?
No,
No,
I don't,
I was going
no.
to say because you were finger picking earlier.
Yeah, it depends on the venue really. So I still do covers gigs, and I don't tend to do much finger picking there.
Okay, yeah, so it depends what kind of stuff you do.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the worst fail you've had on stage so far?
There's 2 actually.
Brilliant. Let's have them both.
So the first one was my first ever gig, and the pickup in my guitar decided to break. So that was
Mid-song?
Like 2
great.
songs into my first ever gig.
Oh,
And
God.
it was just like...
That makes me feel sick.
It was going like crackling, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, and I had no idea how to fix it. But a guy who I know lived nearby had like a little analog like pickup thing that goes over the sound hole. And
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna
I've seen
go.
them.
I've never seen one of them.
They're weird, like, and they don't sound the best, but it got me through it. And he was like,
Yeah.
I'll go and get that. So I like fumbled through it to my break, and I took my break a bit early, and I was like fitting this thing in, and I was like, oh my god. So that was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds.
If it happened now, I'd be a bit better equipped to deal with it. But
Yeah.
my first ever one.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah, you need a plain sailing. Like,
I'm surprised you ever
straightforward.
gigged again. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
The second one, there was 2.
The second one, I'm sure this has happened to other people, but it was first time it happened to me. I had a microphone hit me in the teeth.
Yeah, the classic.
People dancing around, and this guy was just absolutely smashed, and I don't even think he knew where he was, and he just clattered into it, and it was doof, like,
oh,
so yeah, that was an interesting one as well. So
Sounds like you've had some lovely gigs in the not
Yeah.
even year that you've been performing.
yeah. You've done well.
it's been good.
You've
Yeah.
done well. Are you going?
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Well, ideally pick one of those. If not, just make one up.
If you could instantly be great at one thing other than music, what would it be?
Oh my god. That's thrown.
But no, I'm here to talk about music.
Yeah.
Music only.
Oh, do you know, I have no idea. Genuinely.
What would you do, Adam?
What would I do?
You've got too many skills, though. You can't have any, like, fireman, plumber, electrician, music.
I would love to be really good at, like, do you know when you see, I don't know what it's called, white water rafting type, like
Oh, yeah.
where they're in the little kayak things.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds quite scary and fun.
Just be mint at that instantly.
Yeah, just like, there you go.
Nice, I like that.
Olympics, here I come.
Nice.
Stop me now. Try and, you know what I mean? But,
That was a really niche one.
yeah, well,
Really specific.
all right.
No, good. I liked it. I liked it.
What would you do then?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. I'd probably, really boring one, I'd love to be a really good joiner.
Oh, I thought you were going to say knitting or something then.
No, I don't have the patience for knitting, even if I was good at it.
I've thought of one.
Go on,
Nice, go.
God,
Thanks
we've
for
bought
that.
you some time
You
there.
have, yeah. My cogs were turning there. Yeah, I've never been able to draw, and I'd love to.
Ooh, that's a
Like,
good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And it was funny because I always thought I wasn't creative, and it put me off for a long time. Like at school and stuff, when you do art, and you just, I thought, oh, I can't do this. I must not be a creative person.
Yeah, and then
But I am, but just in another
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But yeah, like I'd love to be able to draw properly and paint and stuff. It's incredible
Yeah.
what people can make.
Yeah, I think I might retire my ambition to go to the Olympics as a whitewater kayaker. And I think I'd like to draw as well, actually.
Okay,
Can I steal that?
Yeah, you can have that one.
I'm sticking with my joinery. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Absolutely. Right then, so how can we all find your music online? Where are you? What's your socials? Where are you most prolific? It's time to plug yourself.
Cool. So on Instagram, it's Jack_Robertson_music. And on Spotify as well, search Jack Robertson. There's a few of us.
I
think
know,
there's like
I
3
had
Jack
that problem. I was
Robertsons.
like, bloody hell.
But the one of me's got a picture with my little harmonica.
Yeah,
brace on.
that's
Yeah,
how I
yeah,
found you.
yeah,
I was like, where's the harmonica at?
Yeah, that's about it really. To be fair, I'm not on TikTok. I should be, and that's something I'm going to sort out. But I'm not set it up
Never-ending
yet.
Battle.
It's awful.
Yeah, but yeah, cool. They're the ones.
Yes.
If people are looking to see where you're performing next, where would they find that information?
I post everything on all the sort of original gigs. I make a bit of a shout about on Instagram.
Nice.
Brilliant. Have you got anything coming up in the next...
After 4 weeks'
Yeah, after
time.
than 4 weeks' time.
Yeah. I suppose I've got Staxtonbury, which is... I'm doing it on my own as a solo. I think I'm on the Saturday. Times to be confirmed, but I think it's the 18th of July.
Brilliant.
Nice.
So
Just after the 30th.
just after my 30th,
Yeah.
30 years old
Celebration
in
gig.
2 days. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So you'll have a nice croaky voice for all the beer that you've been drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
So that's the big one this summer, really. Yeah.
You've not really touched that, have we? We've not really spoken about that.
No, it was a bit of a surprise, really. They kind of got in touch, like, "Oh, do you want to do it around October time?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, yeah." But yeah, I'm really excited for that one.
Nice.
Brilliant. Well, that kind of wraps up another episode of Indie Tea Talk. Obviously, I'd like to give you a massive thank you for coming over today. And to everyone else that's joined us, remember you can follow Jack Robertson on Instagram, and that's Jack_Robertson_music, and everywhere else it's just Jack Robertson, not Robinson. And yeah, if you want to follow us, we're obviously on Instagram, Indie Tea Talk with an underscore at the end, and on YouTube and Spotify and all the rest of the wonderful platforms that there are out there. Several hundred, I feel. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely amazing having you today over today, Jack. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we look forward to following you and seeing what you get up to in the future.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoyed it. Cheers.
Bye now.
Bye.